40th Annual Science Festival, a month-long science festival from 1/7/2017 to 31/7/2017. And you know that the Bangalore Science Forum was started in 1962 by Dr. H. Narasimha. At that point of time, such a room was not there, no? Such a multimedia hall. Maybe it started in a classroom, and maybe myself and Professor Ramakrishna who is sitting here were two students with Dr. H. Narasimha. Maybe he had attracted another 2, 3, 4 students, and people used to laugh at the thing. A science seminar every day, every Wednesday. They never believed in that. Even they were thinking that it will go over. But you know, the history has given you a different verdict. Since 1962, today, by conducting Wednesday's lectures, Wednesday means no date, no month, no year. And Science Festival means 1st July to 31st July, no year. Like that, we are at 2765th lecture, you know. Mind hall. And today, always the hall is full. And first time Dr. Kasturi Rangan is coming into this hall. But otherwise, he has given more than 30 to 40 lectures for the Bangalore Science Forum. Maybe since 5-6 years he was not here, you know, member of planning commission and other things. Right now he is here. And for this information, this hall is a air-conditioned one, having an IP address, that in this lecture could be taken anywhere else, you know, 4 places on the planet that simultaneously they have an IP address. In fact, we have conducted video conference with CERN, video conference with Honorary University, where Professor Jnana and Governor were present for about 1 hour, a video conference from here. And today we are conducting another new experiment, that is, this is going live streaming with Facebook, actually. If somebody is seeing in America, I think they are saying, my students are there. When I gave a message 2 days back, already 6,850 counts are over, you know, people are seeing it, that Dr. Kasturi Rangan is going to give the lecture. And they can ask a question to Dr. Kasturi Rangan from that place also. But this is an experiment which are conducting. We don't know the success of it. And he knows it. Always experiment has to be conducted. Let us see. Don't worry about it. And the science form of its journey for he used to take you to a music festival. Now movie festival in Bangalore, which is very famous. One day suddenly he said that, Ramraj, there is a festival for music. There is a Sankranti festival, there is a Ganesha festival. Then I told him, what fun it is there? No, it's not like that. He used to call me as AHR, not like that. Why can't we do a science festival? It was a great shock, great astonishment for me. So how do you do for a science festival? Then he told me, how did they do for music? They called him 10 musicians and asked him to sing. How did they do for a Ganesha festival? Like that you call some 10-15 people scientists, start doing the science festival. After all, such a, what's called a distinguished presence over here, I will take it as a challenge. I feel that first time in the whole world, science festival was coined by Dr. H. Narasimha. If anybody else says something else, which I gave you no first, nothing else. We didn't have about it. Then 1978, calling 10 people is something unimaginable. Calling one person for, one scientist for 1 week is difficult. Now we have to call about 15 people for a festival. Of course, Indians of Science is there, as of that institute. We call them, go over. Then suddenly Narasimha said, next time, why can't we take it for 30 days and stop it there? Because it was very difficult to fix 30 speakers. It's not so easy. 73 was over. Then he called me and told me, why can't we do it for 1 more year? 80, 81, 85, every time 1 more year. 90, 2000, no, 2017. Success begets success, no? Like that we are here for this beautiful system. And month long, and we fixed the speakers. In fact, I fixed Dr. Kasturi Rangan for 3 months back. Today is not free. Then also was not free. Today, he is the chairman of National Education Planning for the whole India. But he has success required. Apart from that, there is a problem with the toe. He is here. And in fact, Dr. Kasturi Rangan, a distinct, you are the director of ISRO from 90 to 94. From 94, he stayed the Indian Space Organization for 9 years as chairman of the Indian Space Organization or Space Commission and secretary to the Government of India in the Department of Space. He laid down his office as chairman ISRO on 27th August 2003. Even then, all chairmen, including him, he used to call them Professor CNR. All of them have given more than 25, 30 lectures like that. But today, we have got a gift, our own student, who studied here for 3 years, is the chairman of the Space Commission, Dr. ASK Kiran Kumar, who is coming up 31st. He was subsequently nominated as member of Rajya Sabha, the upper house of Indian Parliament from 03 to 09. During this period, he also served as Director of National Institute of Advanced Studies, Bangalore. Between June 09 and May 014, he was a member of the Planning Commission of Government of India. Dr. Kasturi Rangan is presently the Chancellor of Jawaharlal University, Satish Dhawan Chair of Engineering Eminence of Indian National Academy of Engineering, Professor Emeritus at NIAS and member Atomic Energy Commission. During his stint as Director, ISAC Center achieved several major milestones, including the development of International Series satellites, IRS satellites, as well as scientific satellites. Prior to this, he was also the project director for India's first 2 experimental Earth observation satellites, Bhaskara 1 and 2, and subsequently was responsible for overall direction of the first operational Indian remote sensing satellite, IRS-1A. Further, he has also overseen the design, development and launching of the world's best civilian satellites, IRS-1C and 1D, realization of second generation and initiation of third generation ISRO satellites, besides launching ocean observation satellites, IRS P3, P4. Dr. Kasturi Rangan took his Bachelor of Science with Honours and Master of Science degrees in Physics from Bombay University. I think that is the National College, Kasturi Rangan believed in physics. Professor Ramakrishna believed in physics. Dr. Narasimha believed in physics. Ramarao believed in physics. All professors. And we believe to such an extent, we had only PCM combination for 25 years in the National College of Assembly. We never budgeted for anyone. Even Narasimha, you don't know whether it's correct or not. Of course, what I am telling you is not so correct today's sense. But then, Narasimha very firm that there is no other subject other than physics. His mentality at that point of time. Actually, National College today, what you are saying, got the brand name only that period, 25 years PCM which you had. Later on, we are all living on only the brand name. And received his doctorate degree in experimental high-energy astronomy in 1971, working at the Physical Research Laboratory, Ahmedabad. As an astrophysicist, he has made extensive and significant contributions to studies of X-ray sources, celestial gamma rays, and the effect of cosmic X-rays in the lower atmosphere. Read these subjects, and in fact, youngsters should follow this one. He is a fellow of the Indian Academy of Sciences, Indian National Science Academy, National Academy of Science of India, Indian National Academy of Engineering, Indian Academy is not there, there are no academies. He is a member of all fellows of all the academies. And also Astronomical Society of India, National Telematics Forum, the Indian Meteorological Society, and the World Academy of Sciences. He is also a distinguished fellow of Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, founder and member of the Astronomical Society of India, life member of the Indian Physics Association. Physics is important even today, In fact, if you go to a movie mill lab, you will understand why physics is important. Okay? Indian Science Congress Association and Indian Society of Remote Sensing and honorary fellow of the Jnana Society of India and Kerala Academy of Sciences. He is an academician of the, this is very interesting, Pontifical Academy of Sciences, Vatican, the honorary fellow of Cardiff University, a member of the International Astronomical Union and the International Academy of Astronautics. Just imagine, it is our life, and in fact I feel we are all living in an age when Dr. Kasturi Rangan is there. Naturally, he has won several awards, including Shantaswaram Bhatnagar Award in Engineering, Sri Hari Om Ashram, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai Credit Award in Aerospace, M.B. Birla Memorial Award in Astronomy, M.M. Chimney Memorial Award in Applied Science, H.K. Firodia Award in Science Technology, Ratindra Puraskar and BSF from Vishwa Bharati Shantiketan, Dr. M.N. Sahabat Centenary Medal for Outstanding Contribution to the field of Space, Aryabhatta Award of ASI, Aryabhatta Medal of INSA, ISRO, several awards. International recognitions include Brock Medal, that's an important one, of International Society for Photogrammetry and Remote Sensing, Alorti Memorial Award of International Astronautical Federation, Lifetime Achievement Award of Asia Pacific Satellite Communications Council, Singapore, and Theodore von Karman Award by International Academy of Astronautics. They have been conferred the award of Office of the Legion d'Honneur honored by the President of the French Republic and also honored the highest Indian civilian awards, Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, and Padma Bhushan. I wish on behalf of you and another all that you should get Bharat from the government. My wish will come to why that CNR petrolling the same thing and he will get Bharat. And Science Form is proud of him actually. And now we are wishing, all of you are wishing him from the Bangalore Science Form. I am sure that he is going to get it and that will be a very fine day. With this introduction, small introduction, today I extend a very cordial welcome to Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan. There is one important announcement tomorrow. That important announcement is tomorrow, Sunday. Generally we keep Sunday film show, but today it's not like that. Because first day we don't want Dvitiya Vijnana. But we arrange a lecture on 2nd July. Our own beloved Dr. P. Sadananda Maya, Chairman Maya's Beverages and Food Private Limited, on healthy millets. Come at 5:30. First eat healthy millets. Then we will have what is called as the idli from millets and tasty bath from millets and beautiful coffee from Maya. All the things you take it. Then come inside to learn about the nutritional value of millets. It's already explained before. That's what we are doing. I told you, beloved Mayam class, this hall, more than 50 lakhs, Dr. Mayam gave it. Otherwise, not have done this hall. The next one is, we have built a magnificent building in National College, Jnana, costing about 10 crores. The entire amount is given by Dr. P. Sadananda. That's why it's our own person. Then on the 3rd July, we got Dr. Honorary Prasad. Now I have seen that boy when he was 16, 17 years. I taught him physics. I think no 50 years, 60 years or over. When I was in USA 3 months back, I received an email. Appa Professor Mahabalavana, Mundare Kapam Jagai. Now we'll back up. When he said, say no, Professor Mahabalavana. And he sent me a letter stating that, sir, the science form which was started with your students, it appears going on very well. I would like to give one lecture. I replied immediately. And immediately said that, sir, such a quick, prompt response. I am ready to come from USA to give a lecture on 3rd July. But when he comes on 3rd July, only when he tells he is Honorary Prasad, he can recognize him. Otherwise, after 40, 50 years, he can know the growth pattern, how it will be. And he is coming from Stewart Institute of Technology, OK, New Jersey, USA. And talking on why acoustics matters to quality of life. Try to attend yes. Or Bhatta and Satosha. Guest chair beka pona, distinguished people. If I tell you in a few minutes way, I used to give welcome speech until the time the entire hall is full. But today there is no necessity. I can start my welcome speech. The exact warrant welcome to Professor Mahabala and also Justice D. Shalir Kumar. Tumma Santosh. And now I request Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan to continue this course. Thank you, Professor Ramara. Thank you, sir, for the elaborate introduction. I should thank you for this very unique opportunity to me on this occasion. My memories go back to the days when I used to organize this festival. And
spite of all our other commitments, one week is a call, we should come and give a lecture here. That becomes a priority for all of us. That's how we treated him. And you are, of course, a very illustrious colleague of Professor Nasimaya. You are aware of it even in those days. I'm also very happy that you are not only continuing to this tradition, but adding more and more value to his own thoughts and processes. And the type of enthusiasm that one has for this lecture series, I don't think I have to elaborate it once you see this hall at the present lecture. As you said, is a pattern now for this kind of festival and various lectures that are delivered at this festival. So when we discussed the question of what is it that I should be talking about here, we discussed several subjects, whether it is astrophysics, whether it is related to the general space program, so something which is very specific, which is more related to how was this organization coming to being, and the type of people who originally gave the concept and the direction for the evaluation of this program. And so when the broad content of the kind of lecture that can be given on this was told to you, you quickly jumped at this particular theme, the architects of ISRO. I was quite happy about it, because in this country we do go quite into the details of various programs, various kinds of plans and things of that kind. But sometimes we lose the sight of the people who really conceptualized it and took it to the very idea of creating a space program which came to Professor Sarabhai. You should know, and today where it is, 60 years later, it should have been a terrific visionary to have thought about the details of it. So what kind of person he is, except for the fact that he was an industrialist and also a scientist known, the way he used to work is he used to think, he used to interact, and he used to come up with ideas. And the system which he created for that, not much is known. Similarly, he was succeeded by Satish Dhawan, an extraordinary intellect, a perfectionist, I should say, a person who had a penchant for excellence. So he was the second chairman. What was his method of working and interacting? And he was succeeded by Rao, who had another kind of a way to look at this, but nevertheless took the program forward with, I should say, lightning speed. So, I thought I will give a little glimpse of the kind of people and the way they thought and the program they initiated, and how we saw if it is in this particular state today, how these people give the foundation for that activity. So that's what I'm going to do in the next half an hour or 45 minutes. Actually, the ISRO's thing had gone through several phases. If you really look at it, first of course, Sarabhai as a visionary was the one who, when the first Sputnik went up in 1957, here was a person in a developing country who thought what kind of implications it may have for this country, this vantage point of space. And then he discussed with quite a lot. We have an extraordinary network of international community with whom we could discuss, and areas like education, health, connectivity, weather system, natural resources, talk into his mind as possible with a space-based camera system or a space-based instrument orbiting around the Earth. So that is the beginning of his vision. He thought that India certainly has a very unique advantage in accepting the concept of a space and carrying forward the various aspects of doing space. Of course, one should know the United States and then the Soviet Union, they were in the Cold War. So one of the important aspects of this initiation for them was not only from the development point of view, not only from doing doing science, but equally importantly for them, this gave them a very unique capability of surveillance in the adversary's country and the details thereon. Something on which no legal structure at that time existed that you cannot do it. So they found this to be very, even though they did explore science, there was very interesting discoveries like vanillin and so on. But they had in the back of the mind that in promoting space, they will bring in the question of trying to get a military advantage. But in India, when Sarabhai thought about using it, and this was happening within 4 years of the first rounds, he thought that it should be much more than that. This is not something which is important to us, but there are several aspects of development where the country needs to support from high technology. And he found that this is one area, the area I mentioned about education, health and so on, should come into the picture in trying to exploit the vantage point of space. So that was the vision. The vision to provide a vantage point of space capability for this country, to look at it from the vantage point, the meteorological phenomena, the natural resources for optimal management, connectivity through communication satellites which should be used for education, health and so on and so forth. So he thought a variety of possibilities, something which is very unique and very sorely needed for this country at that point in development, I'm talking about 1960s, is the one that drove him. And so he created a vision. And he wanted to start it, and of course in the process, he was very persuasive in his argument and the way he justified things. So at that time, he talked to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru felt that here is an area which is worth for India to get in. You should know, this was a very major political decision for a simple the thing that this was not tried out in any other country in terms of how the space sector country's development. There is an investment which could be very high at a stage where it has to be sustained. Technological complexities are such that a developing country like India had to really face those challenges of mastering those technologies. And these are not easily available from other countries because they happen to be also strategic in terms of their capabilities. So keeping this in mind, there were a large risk in trying to get into this area, but our missionaries, both in the political system and the scientific community, they decided to take this risk and go ahead. So this is one of the good examples of how India, in the early phase of its development, did venture into those kind of activities which could make a difference subsequently to this country's stature and the capability. Space is one of the aspects of how there for atomic energy, and other visionaries were there in other areas of science and technology. So these are classic examples of space and atomic energy. To give you an idea of the type of vision, and in a way where you didn't understand all the implications of the decision that you were taking, even though there would be a large-scale financial commitment in carrying out this kind of activity. Then came the second phase where to do this, you want to start telling the nation how this can be used. The number of experimental things where you get a satellite from that. World has started building the satellite, world has started putting the satellite into orbit. You had a Landsat which was used for remote sensing, which is for resource sensing from space. You had a communication satellite which could provide connectivity. But then they were all experimental. Sarabhai's influence and their ability to identify these kind of possibilities enabled him to bring some of these over India and to use them with ground-based systems which he asked the scientific community to build. And they, along with these systems which have been borrowed from India at the time, and the ability to build those classes of satellites. But ground systems, yes. Utility, we need to test it out. And there were a set of people, it is not necessarily from ISRO, but from various institutions in this country. They came together to build this. So that's how the experimental phase to evaluate less amount of investment, less amount of risk, but at the same time, you get a feel of how a space can be used for various kinds of applications. That was the experimental phase. In essence, the first creation of this vision, creation of the first level infrastructure, capability build-up, that you call as the Sarabhai era, the first was architect of the space program. Taking it to the experimental phase, where less risks, but demonstration of the capability, that was the Dhawan era. And then went into the third area, where this has been converted into a routine type of services and products for the country, what you call as an operational phase. That was the Dhawan continued and URO takeover. So this is the Dhawan URO era. So these are the three distinct phases under the era of Sarabhai, Dhawan and URO, where the space progressed. in the afternoon, early 90s or so. So now what has happened in the last 60 years or so? If you really look at it, we had something like 60 launch vehicle missions which were launched. We have put satellites to the extent of nearly 300 or so into the orbit. Some of them are small, some of them are medium, some of them are big satellites. You have built those satellites for communication, remote sensing and so on. And what is also important to note, even though I said that they are risky, a vehicle like Power satellite or vehicle which India developed right from the scratch, we have today 39 launches have happened. Out of it, 38 were successful. So it's one of the best record anywhere in the world that we have that kind of a success in this kind of a vehicle. Today, of course, the budget has boomed. I said about the last day, the finances that have been committed is spent about $1 billion in this connection. We have an application leadership. What I mean is utility of these communication satellites or remote sensing satellites for down to earth applications, whether it is resource application, communication applications and so on. We have a large body of groups and institutions in this country, not within ISRO but outside, who carry this out. Industry has pitched in to support this program. In fact, I would say it has come to such a level that more than 50% of the budget in the launch vehicle, they go to industry. They manufacture, they assemble, they test it, and they supply it to ISRO. So that is the kind of the role of the industry. They really upgrade themselves in terms of the technological capability once you get into this. International cooperation has been a hallmark of ISRO's activities and planning. Why I say this? We started with the first rocket firing from Cuba, which was actually, it actually came to be because of the international collaboration. The Soviet Union supplied computers and helicopters. The US supplied certain type of rockets for sounding for undertaking experiment. The French the government supplied various types of other rockets and some experiments. So you can see that there was a number of countries who came forward to initiate the program. But it has grown. It was no longer the question of India depending on somebody. Today we work on an equal partnership basis. So when NASA comes for a cooperation with ISRO today, it means that NASA is going to take advantage of your strength in many areas, and you take advantage, you complement it by their strength, and therefore a mission is created, which is where both of you work as equal partners. So that is what international collaboration is and cooperation is today. And of course, I told about the number of satellites. One of the important things I knew was that this particular activity cannot sustain itself. We have to depend on outside in terms of technology and other kinds of know-how. So you need a broad policy of self-reliance. It doesn't mean that it is indigenous. Everything cannot be prepared from this. It is also compared within the country with its own capability. But there is what is called self-reliance. You can still build systems, even though specific technologies may not be available to you. Now this kind of a strategy ISRO adopted early. And this is one of the reasons why even today ISRO succeeds. Many scientific programs get stuck. Simply because of the fact they take the path of indigenization and not the self-reliance. In the process, try to get set up in technology and then it becomes outmoded. So that is one thing that very scrupulously avoided, and this I should say, much of the credit goes to the type of thinking that Professor Jnana had. Currently, human resources is about 18,000 manpower, and we have also started to some extent space commerce, that is try to take advantage of resource capability in satellites, launch services and things of that kind, not only within the agencies in India, but also for agencies abroad. So that is the space commerce. And most importantly, as I said, the whole justification for the space program comes from the fact that this particular system that India has built has found use among a large user community outside the ISRO system. And today they specify what their requirements are. ISRO converts them into how you can build a satellite for that purpose. And then that is going to become a mission for ISRO. But ultimately the idea of delivering it for use by those users. So that is the interface between the users and the Indian Space Research Organization so far as the sustainability is concerned. Now I go to the three individuals a little bit, but this is not really a programmatic description of the program. So the idea is to bring in personalities and give you an idea of the type of three personalities that we had in the early part of the space program. they did make a difference to the space. That I want to say why I am telling these three is that ultimately what it is seen as the space program today and the success that we are enjoying. That was all simply because of the type of vision one had, the type of strategy the second one had, and the type of way to take it up in a dynamic fashion by the third had, and they formed a beautiful successive combination in trying to push the program ahead. First, Vikram Saraswat, of course, he was born in a very rich family, the silver spoon in the mouth. He took his PhD from Cambridge, he was a Blackhead in Cosmic Rays. He worked also with Kasturi Rangan at the Indian Institute of Science here. And he is the one who really thought and designed Sputnik went up, what kind of things can happen in this country, and then formed a space program activity through the type of initial steps which you saw in the first phase. He was a great visionary and an institution builder. What I mean by institution builder, not only he thought about to create a space agency for this country, he created a small laboratory where not research can be done, the physical research laboratory. He later on became the cradle for India's space program. Then he built he also conceptualized an Ahmedabad textile industry with associated in India. He built the Ahmedabad IIM, he gave shape to the IIM in Ahmedabad. He created the national design. This is beside the industrial empire which also he headed. So this was the kind of a thing he had a very, very broad set of accomplishments in terms of very several institutions in diverse areas. That was one of his hobby. What are the things he did? As far as ISRO is concerned, of course, he knew that the engineers will do something, but then you have to do it in the form of an outcome. The people who are most ready at that particular point were the scientists. So he offered this capability to the scientists. Scientists were the geophysicists, atmospheric scientists, and so on and so forth. And they are the ones who used the early phase in terms of launching rockets from Tumba. The Tumba is, as you know, the southern tip of the and the Tumba is unique simply because the geomagnetic equator, like the geophysical equator, you have also a geomagnetic equator taking the Earth as a dipole. And this goes over Tumba. And that provides a lot of interesting physical phenomena in the atmosphere and ionosphere. So this was an opportunity to capitalize on that kind of a situation in the nature by flying sounding rockets. So he offered it. So he started this program. Building the rocket was another kind of a thing. He knew the sounding rockets can be built in India. He got that out. He also recognized that ultimately India has moved towards putting a satellite into the orbit. So a very modest vehicle he thought of, and he also used in going for this modest vehicle an American version of what he called as a Scout. A 4-stage rocket capable of putting something like 40 kilograms into the space. He worked on that. Applications, he knew that we have to demonstrate without science areas where it is of relevance to sociological objectives. Site is a satellite instruction and television experiment. Got an American satellite to be located in the Pacific Ocean. And people thought of building a number of ground systems on the ground. And through that, he developed a number of applications. That is where the expertise he created through what he calls the development and educational communication unit in Ahmedabad. Something very unique. You create a seismic technology capability. You try to convert that into a useful thing for the country's development. Not much of a demonstration happens. So you have to create institutions for demonstrating it, and what he did is the development, educational communication unit. And then ultimately did something which is related to development communication, education, methodology for agriculture, health, environment. So this was all done. You have a satellite by which you improve the connectivity, ground system, receiver and other kinds of equipment on the ground, and there are a number of applications like what I said. So this you want to try out, and science is considered in those years, and I'm talking from 1980, 1990, as one of the biggest sociological experiments conducted anywhere. There were 200,000 people participated in it, something like 4,000 villages participated from 6 states of the country. So that's the scale in which a satellite demonstration for communication was done with specific aim applications in view. Similarly, putting the vantage point of view, you put a camera, the camera takes pictures of the ground. Those pictures of the ground can provide a number of types of natural resources information, and this information can be then converted into quantified as numbers which could be used for decision support. to give us a very, very unique ability to look at the resources, the natural resources of the country by camera systems. The advantage of a camera system in space, you get a perspective view. Sitting here, I'm able to see the entire hall. If I come on the ground, I can't see the full hall. So this is, you can imagine a satellite with a camera, the eye from the space, which is something like 700 or 800 kilometers in altitude. Obviously, you can see a large swath of the country. You can also have a camera system which can be designed for very high resolution, so you can see details. Today we see it down to better than a meter in terms of the resolution. So these kind of things, but keeping that in mind, it's initially with aerial flight, with putting in the aircraft camera system, he started an set of experiments. Went on to use the American satellite, Landsat, a remote sensing satellite, to do a number of remote sensing experiments in which all you call the users in this country, forestry people, hydrology people, oceanography people, environment people, they all participated in the use of Landsat on the ground. So by the time this experiment was completed, India had a fairly good idea of how to use a space system with a camera to look at the ground resources and how to convert this ground resources information into specific decision for the country's optimal management of resources. So this is a kind of a thing. Institutional mechanism, the most important thing about mechanism is the fact that he had to get space capabilities, whether it is bed, water or steam, he had to get that. Then the recruitment of Indian scientists was to be absolutely got critical permission to make sure that he gets people wherever they are. What is the strategies he adopted? Technology, if you want to develop a particular technology, as I told you, there can be a single direction technology. You always encourage 2 or 3 people, because this was the initial phase of a program, you didn't know what is the best technology. So you allowed this. So the multiple kind of a case. Culture of team spirit. One of the very important thing about space is you cannot work as an individual, you cannot work as a small group. You need to work as a part of a big team. Because you're ultimately dealing with multidisciplinary systems, whether it is in engineering or science, and there are several disciplines of engineering, but they have to speak to each other. And if they have to speak to each other to become a rocket or a satellite, you need the corresponding people who have to communicate with each other. So that is the team spirit that had to be created with a new culture in this country to do this. International contact for the growth of Indian space program. He made sure that we have the best of the support from American support, Russian support, the French support, German support, I mentioned some of these. So they were all part of initiating and supporting the India space program in the early years. There was no politics there, there was no question of concern. India was an open country, a civilian program, very much due to the requirements of the country's development. So this was very well appreciated, and we did get in the initial phase substantial support from these countries. Now, so he had very good connections with some of the best institutions in the United States, like Lincoln Laboratory and Bangalore and that. Why I'm telling Lincoln Laboratory is the current series of INSATs, whose first generation, when he wanted to think about it, some of the work that came out was from the MIT. MIT and the Indian groups worked together in defining the INSAT system. Similarly, the Bangalore Laboratory in the University of Michigan, they work with Indians to look at the remote sensing system. So you see, American laboratories did play an important role in trying to push India's technological application capabilities with their own very well-known capabilities of the highest order in the world. Leadership of highest quality, creation of institutions and landmarks, I don't want to get into all, maintaining the highest levels of political contact. One of the important things, if you have to do a program, you need a lot of money, you need to have a policy, and you need the support. The political system has to be taken on board. And that is one of the things that all ISRO leadership had this best of the contact of the political system. And there has been systematic, consistent support from the political system for this kind of thing. Establishing links between ISRO, government agencies, industry, and I did mention about it, initiated nationally. So one thing that before he passed away in 1971, he did was to create a debate in the country, how good is space for this country. And about 7 or 8 working groups of people who in this country came into the, for example, when it came to satellite navigation, it was A.R.D. Tata who spearheaded the navigation for space navigation. Today you see the NASA, but the space navigation in India, he was the one who spearheaded. Like that, 7 or 8 areas in science, in application, in remote sensing, communications, and so on. We created this, a very good set of reports were created, the blueprint for India's space This was around 1971. And this culminated, unfortunately, we didn't be able to see him being created in the country. His successor, Satish Dhawan, and of course, for a short period, Professor N.T.K. Menon, it well upon them to address this question. It came out with the final blueprint of what the space system should be for this country and what kind of directions the space can provide and the utility of the space, both in terms of application, science, and also the related technologies. So this entire thing was carried out around 1970. So you see, the amount of homework that had to be done is an area in which we don't have much of an understanding. But this kind of homework was done in a very exhaustive fashion, and most importantly, it was not done within the ISRO itself. It was done across the country in a spectrum of endeavors, and all those stakeholders were a part of this. We all came forward to work with ISRO in developing this strategy and framework. So, just to give you a feel of what is the fourth element about him, some anecdotal organizations. You know, the early years, there was this rocket, and I said the rockets can both carry an instrument. It releases a sub-vapor, and on the vapor, you can write a photograph on the ground, and that vapor, when it moves, is a fluorescent vapor, so it becomes like a cloud, a fluorescent cloud. So you can take the pictures, and then with time you can see where it is moving. So you can reconstruct velocity, motion vectors, and things of that kind. So this was an interest to atmospheric dynamics. So there was a research in which 4 rockets were to be fired on a particular line, starting with the dusk, then somewhere the early night, then late night, and then dawn. Unfortunately, the sodium vapor, which was supposed to be released once it goes to an altitude of something like 80 or 90 kilometers, it failed to get released. They thought it was a random accident, so they flew the second one later in the night. Again a failure. Third time, again a failure. So they had the wisdom to stop it. So next day, Sarabhai came to know about this, and he was, of course, I'm sure this would have very worried him, the type of failures that we observed. But then I happened to see him in the veranda portico of Physical Research Laboratory, and he just asked me, has the Spanish Armada come back? The word he used. But then he didn't show his face as something serious has happened. But I'm sure that there is nothing in his mind as to why this happened, what he needs to do. So he subjected this entire debacle to a very thorough, rigorous analysis, whether it is institutional, whether it is leadership problem, technological, and later it was discussed, it was a technological problem, some testing was overlooked and so on and so forth. It was corrected. But the important point that came out of this is the fact that ultimately these kind of problems which could have occurred later on if we did not get this at that stage, could have affected our BSF program, could have affected our GSF program. So that is where the importance of tolerating the failures, taking advantage of the failures, and using them as a stepping stone for future successes. These are strategies which always we had, and all the leaders of ISRO had this. Another thing, I worked with him in the Physical Research Laboratory. Sorry that I'm taking a personal view on this because of the fact he brings out a certain personality character in him. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up. I completed my thesis and I wanted to go abroad. I had a very good offer from Berkeley. He would take off for me and call me and ask me, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to do, I got an offer, I'll be a postdoc there. He said, where are you going there? I can offer you something much better than what you have ever in Berkeley. So then he explained to me what are the kind of things he has in plan. He outlined the whole space program at that particular time, and also the type of areas where I could work in this program. I was still not very sure because he said you work in the satellite program. And I told him that you have to work in the satellite program, you are an engineer, and this is this. Second thing, there is a number of areas where the satellite program, structural engineering, thermal engineering, control engineering, electro-optical system, electromagnetics. So you have a whole host of technology. How do you deal with it? A person who has just worked on a small instrument. He said, you have built an instrument for balloon flight. These kind of balloon flights, where you build this, you have brought in counters for gases, discharges. You knew how to do what you call cross blowing. You knew how to build electronic circuits, analog circuits. digital circuits, communication. So what does this all mean? Is that put together, you have a systemic capability to understand an issue. And this is precisely what is needed for some major activities of ISRO. In fact, you can easily get a structural engineer or a mechanical engineer, but to get a person who has a systemic understanding of this is much more difficult. And he went on telling me about the type of people whom he wanted to, as an example, Fred Singer in Maryland, John Silver in Chicago. He really was so well prepared to answer this kind of questions that ultimately he dissuaded me from going out. So you can imagine, I'm not a unique person, I would have done it with several people. But they are all today growing up in ISRO as somebody who do things. That means his judgment, his ability to pick up people and then nurture them, advise them, and put them at the right time into the space program and making sure that their capabilities are used here. And this is the kind of leadership. I think this is something which is needed in all segments. And when we talk of leadership in this country, in the science and technology, I think these are the kind of things on which we seem to overlook some of these kinds of things. I gave this example only to make sure that this is the kind of person. You work on many other things I could have said, but time is what it is. I go to the next person, who is Satish Rao. He was a distinguished academic. The most important thing is about his academic track. He had a BA in physics. Then he had an MA in mathematics. Then he had an MA in English literature. Then he went back and did BE in Punjab University in mechanical engineering. Then he did a ME in Minnesota on aeronautical sciences. Then he did MS and PhD in aerospace engineering at Caltech. So you can just see that the most important thing I found is that you cannot do anything with the language in convincing him, because he was better in the language than ourselves. You cannot write something and then you can go comma or full stop. If you put the wrong point, you can correct. That is the kind of thing. He was a student of Hans Lippmann, and Hans Lippmann was a student of Theodore von Karman. And Theodore von Karman is the father of American astronautics. So that is the kind of thing. He became chairman of ISRO after Sarabhai death. He was a man who held the position for about 4 months. From 1972 onwards, he took over the chairmanship, and he went up to 1984. 12 years he was the chairman. And he was a real confluence of diverse personalities that he had. He was a teacher, research scientist, engineer, technologist, manager, leader, and advisor. An extraordinary the institution builder, no question. And transformed every organization he worked for, because he knew that he can go into the innermost depths of the requirements of the organization and can be absolutely candid in trying to come up with solutions. So this is what the next person was who took over. The most important things he did is to complete some of the earlier activities of Sarabhai, Aryabhatta and Bhaskara programs. Technology, he did space infrastructure and we further will abroad. The first era was only to build up to a particular level. So major infrastructure in terms of satellite building activity, rocket building activity, other kinds of infrastructure were there already. And he gave the first configuration for India's most successful launch vehicle, the polar satellite launch vehicle, which today has become a world first for the ISRO program. But he was the one who gave the nature of what the configuration of this vehicle is. This vehicle will go up, put satellites into the polar orbit primarily. And what I mean by polar orbit is the satellite that is placed, say 800 or 900 kilometers above the Earth, will go from pole to pole. So there is a kind of the advantage of the pole to pole orbit is the fact that the Earth, when it rotates below, the different parts of the Earth will come. The orbit is fixed up in the inertial space, but the Earth rotating below it will see different, the satellite will see different parts of the Earth. So that is the polar orbit concept. He has certainly done this very elegantly. Initiation of cryo management, you wanted to make sure that at some stage India's rockets should have cryogenic propulsion, because that is one of the very efficient way of putting satellites into the orbit, cost effective and where they most efficient. So in this case, the difficulty was with respect to the use of hydrogen and heavy hydrogen, liquid oxygen. So you have to bet your hand very early in the program. So he initiated studies on this maybe 15 years before we thought of building into this. So you can see at what level he was looking at it. He built a number of, he directed the building of a number of Bhaskara, Apple. These are all things that were built during his time, which were often important here nowadays. It completed meaning the application that Sarabhai had in mind. Because Sarabhai didn't live to see all the applications that he had in mind. Site experiment I mentioned, matter experiment, use of Landsat for this thing. And then finally defining what India's own remote sensing satellites should be. That definition was done with a very thorough scientific approach by what you call the Jnana experiment. I don't want to get into all that, but the most important thing is there was a scientific approach to doing this. And that is one thing that helped us to establish a satellite system, which is today one of the most successful satellite systems in the world, the IRC series of satellites. We should operate a constellation. So 6 or 7 satellites of this constellation. In fact, if you want to go for this kind of a constellation capability, you can't go to any other country than India. That is where it is today. So that is what this was done under his leadership at that particular time. And the most important thing about Satish Dhawan was he knew if you want to sustain India's program, you need to have methods of institutionalizing them. So you have to bring the stakeholders, the users, ISRO and many others into a common forum, discuss the requirements, convert them into mission, and this mission become project, and then ISRO carries it out in terms of the launch vehicle and satellite launch. So there is a whole thing. So he created mechanisms like inside coordination committee, which consisted of many ministries, but chaired by ISRO to look at communication and broadcasting requirements. National Natural Resource Management System for the remote sensing, advisory committee for space science to look at the space science part of it, which is very important. Space science always very, very important in one sense. It provides food for some of the best intellectuals in this country to pursue science research. And on the other side, it puts a demand of the highest level in terms of technology. So that is another thing that was an instrument he made. And most important thing in all the thing, he went ahead and created what is called as a Space Commission. We talk about a single window decision-making support. So in this Space Commission, Chairman of ISRO is the chairman, but you had 3 key members of the Government of India's decision-making system. One is Cabinet Secretary, Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, and the Finance Secretary. All the 3 were members of the Space Commission. Similarly, you have 2 or 3 major scientists, very well-known scientists, on the other side. And Chairman ISRO is the Department of Space Secretary. He chaired. So the only thing where Cabinet Secretary comes and sits as a member when Chairman ISRO is there. Even now, this continues. You can see, it's very interesting for this country to have this kind of structure. And these are possible. It's not that people say government system, bureaucratic system, this is a problem, that is a problem. You know the right way to justify and have a political system to back to the Indira Gandhi battery. It has never been done by any of the subsequent Prime Minister. We continue to have this kind of a system. But I just thought that I will mention it, and there was government in his wisdom did this, and today our decisions for major programs and those kind of a thing, they go to Space Commission, and once it is approved, the only person who can discuss with this is the Prime Minister himself. Strategy. Government's strategies were very, very interesting. As I told you, we cannot get stuck up because our technology indigenously is not developed completely. So always in design of systems, you have to go for the Bible kind of an option. Then opportunistic alliances, we had very good contacts again with US, USSR and so on. And then there was this question of a human flight. At that time, Indira Gandhi and Brezhnev wanted to have a human flying into the space, and they would give their Soyuz. But then the problem was, government was not convinced that a human flight as an activity for this country is something worth spending money on. We knew that a large amount of money is involved, and the returns would be very small. So he persisted, and ultimately this political decision between Indira Gandhi and Brezhnev was to go for it. So there is no question of further proceeding. So it was handed over to the defense, and the government said that I will support them, but I will not be responsible for it. You see, why I am telling you, he had the courage to tell the Prime Minister and that to Indira Gandhi that I am not going to take up any this because you were the President only. And he was fair because that is the kind of trust and respect that he commanded even the highest level of Prime Minister. So he always changed the strategy, but he would not convince him that he should do that. The other point I am bringing from in saying this, Their structures of project management, strong involvement of industry and the academic program. These were all new ways in which the space program was supported, expanded and consolidated. And thoroughness of project report, things like creating a project report, you try to bring he insisted on so many types of analysis to be done, all options to be considered. The best option is not necessarily the most optimal one, but the best option is the one which under the circumstances of the multiple parameters is the most appropriate to choose. This kind of thing, he taught ISRO a methodology to analyze and work and take decisions, which was something many of us learned with his being there. I just want to say a few things about what kind of personality again through anecdotal government. There was the first satellite had to build the Aryabhat. He became the chairman. In fact, as chairman of ISRO, he never wanted to be the chairman of any of the smaller entities in ISRO. He never believed that everything should be held by him. So he had a very beautiful delegation and he had the responsibility to be properly diversified to the various levels. But this was the first satellite that India was building. There was this decision to launch it with the Soviet Union. And therefore there was an international component. The world is looking at it. He thought that we cannot make any mistakes. And so he himself chaired as a board, the management board. And I happened to become the secretary of the board. Secretary is not a member, he is just the secretary of the board. And he was, the way in which he used to conduct the meeting, he used to come thoroughly prepared with all the points in the agenda. Everywhere he is not very clear, he would have thought about it and he would have asked harder as a question he asked the committee. If it cannot be answered at that particular thing, he will give it as an action to the project director to look at it. But he was very thorough, coming with preparation for any meeting he attended. This is typical of his method of working. And once when there was a discussion of a very interesting machine that was being built for dynamically balancing the satellite, there was a question of what is the dynamic balancing machine. When the discussion came out and finally URO was the project director for the satellite Ayoga, he told that we have reviewed this with Dr. Honorary, who was the NAL director, and we find that there are no technical issues, we are not concerned. So I beautifully recorded it in many minutes, and then it went to him. The point is, you have a meeting in the morning, by evening the draft is ready, URO sees it in the evening, next day morning it is in process of table for his application, and by afternoon it is back on my table. So when I looked at it, he had looked at this particular instrument, dynamic balancing machine. There was no problems on this, is what is reported. He is written in the margin of that particular minute, in a very beautiful handwriting. He said, no problems, question mark. I am worried. Obviously, he doesn't believe that a complex system can be categorically characterized as having no problem. So he always puts you on a kind of a toe on your toes in this kind of a thing. That is the kind of a thing. I said about cryogenic engine. The cryogenic engine, he knew. There are always thought what is the best thing in the next 20 years and 30 years. And he wanted always some investment at this time, very limited investment, a small group working on it, and then try to get a feel of it. This is what he did way back in 1985 on the development of a cryogenic engine, which was upper stage of a present geosynchronous vehicle. But what is important to note is that it was a very small amount of money, about 50-20 people. But later, even beyond his time, when you are there was this suggestion that we should finally go for a cryogenic upper stage for our GSLV. And he had no technology which was mature enough for us to realize it in a short reasonable time. We hunted for this kind of a thing with Russia, with America, with Europe and so on. And ultimately, we had a reasonable agreement with Russia, but of course we got into the problem of exact technology control regime. So we had a problem of getting the technology. So ultimately, we had to only get the cryogenic engine stage as a food product, not as a technology. But what is important is this 15 or 20 people who were put in there in 1985, they were some of the key people now. And they have learned so much of working in the laboratory that they became the mainstream making judgments. And their judgments was so good because of this kind of initiative that we have taken in preparing a group of people within ISRO, that they could question the Russians left and right. And they found it extremely difficult to work with Indians because they never thought Indians are going to question them in cryogenic a new area with that kind of a detail and confidence. And then finally they became, there's the beauty of technology. When you try to get your opponent with whom you are discussing and debating, if you want him to be professionally competent, you start respecting him. When you start respecting him, you start diverging details. And by that time you got what you wanted. So this is the idea of a technology transfer. Our technology transfer is a very different kind of this is simple. You have to prepare yourself inside the country. Otherwise you cannot have a transfer of technology from outside. Last is a little more touching thing. I happened to see him in the final days when he was in Kasturi Rangan's hospital. He was a veteran. And I went to inquire. At that time I was chairman. So I went and inquired about his health and so on. It was very cheerful. And they talked more about India and its future and all that. And then suddenly he switched the topic and asked me, when are you likely to leave? I said, in another few months I will be leaving. Now he been talking about it. ISRO, he asked. Sir, some people are happy about it. Some people have no opinion. A few of them would not help me to go. This is the general dealing idea. Whether you do one thing, you put that block on the table now. Say that you may like to get rid of me as chairman, but the next one could be worse. So that is how the person is. So I mean, it is so enjoyable to work with this kind of intellectuals in our profession. So I thought I should mention it simply because of the fact how his mind wanders in areas where most of the ideas that we adopt today, in some way or other, it has its origin in Professor Thomas thinking. And then came the next man who succeeded Professor Thomas. This is U.R. Rao. He was a student of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. He got a PhD from Jnana. And he did for a postdoctoral work at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Taught in Southwest Central Research Institute. He became chairman in 1984 for a decade. Worked for pioneers and become the most interplanetary missions in the United States. He worked for that. And in a sense, he is the father of India's satellite program. So, that is what. And he did quite a lot during his time. He built the satellite capability. The present ISAC, the ISRO Satellite Center in Bangalore, goes to him in terms of a big laboratory. One of the finest laboratories that we have in this country and also elsewhere for satellite. Saribata, Bhaskara, Honorary, Apple. Yes. Is it working? Okay, and so he did a lot of work and built a lot of satellites. The current generation of INSAT, IRS, they were all initiated in his time. Remote sensing applications is strengthened. The Polar satellite launch vehicle development took place within 10 years of time. This vehicle takes, even the launch vehicle takes 10 years in any country in the world because of the nature of technology. But slowly he saw through the full development of the BSF launch vehicle. And just before he left, the first test flight was done. Unfortunately, there was a little oversight in the computer. This thing, I think, is the fixed point versus the floating point arithmetic issue within the thing. So finally, the vehicle could succeed in orbiting the satellite. And the whole process but then subsequently when I look forward, you know the history of PSLV. They had 100% success after that. So that's all goes to him because ultimately the development was done by him and only the first vehicle could not succeed for a very, very silly reason. You did initiate the work on the GSLV, which today 2 or 3 vehicles, more generation has also come up. And sociological applications of remote sensing application, telemedicine, tele-education, many of these initiated during his time. He was a very dynamic guy. The most important thing about it was when he was given the job of building India's first satellite Ayoga, the government had 36 months to do this. We had no infrastructure, we had no other kinds of experience, And to this he was supposed to build a satellite from the scratch. But he managed, and I should say that under his leadership, we did this in 40 months. 36 became 40. But we built a laboratory, we assembled the people, we got the technologies, we organized industries, and together we came up with this satellite in 40 months. So that is the kind of dynamism which he led ISRO during his time. And of course, he is a person who is also very good academic. And his passion for academic really is that you have to keep your mind very tuned all the time. Good research can help you to keep the mind very sharp. And you can on one side get papers and everything that. But at the same time, your own work gets much more in terms of quality and value when you have this kind of an attitude. And I should say, in spite of working late into the night and so on, he kept that culture of writing papers and putting it in the peer review journal. That's the kind of a thing. It motivates all people. United bodies, United Nations, outer space, and other international space bodies, he played a very significant role. And that also gave him excellent cooperation for India's space program through these bodies as the key people who are nothing but the heads of many institutions across the world in various countries. So that is the kind of a person he did extraordinary for 10 years. The type of things he achieved was extraordinary for many years, both in satellite, rockets, and applications, and also in some extent in the scientific thing. And just to give you a little idea about his personality, when the first satellite has to be built, and this was something which Russia was supposed to launch. And then there was this question of Madam Gandhi asked Menon was at that time the chairman for the short period. He asked how much is it going to cost? 3 years and how much is it going to cost? Professor Menon said, I will come in 24 hours and just get back. He called up Professor Rangan and said, Madam Gandhi needs a estimate of how much it will cost to fly the bus. And so we have put out the question of this thing. He told most of the engineers of various groups make their estimate. And by evening, by night, we got a final number, which was something like 65 lakhs. Both of us thought it's ridiculous to build a satellite with 65 lakhs. But then how do you know to use what? There's no fact that Madam has to go next day morning. So he said, no, just multiply by a factor of 5 and put it as 3 crores and let us have it. So he just did that. And I said, well, the project was over after 3 years. Actually, we have spent something like 3.1 crores. But this is not something, this is not the one way scientifically somebody would like to justify this. So please don't take this seriously. But this can happen like sometime or other. Choice of selecting sensors for IRS is another kind of thing. In fact, reviews, we used to conduct reviews of various satellite programs with extraordinary insight into the various technologies that are there. And to me, working with one of the priorities of his, and I worked right from the early part of ISRO's association, once I did my PhD with URL. So the 10 years of my association with him was extremely productive for me. He put me into several, his interests are multifarious. It is science, paper writing, research, technology of rockets, technology of satellites, applications, international collaboration. But nice thing, if you really want to make choice about people and to whom you want to attach to, these are the kind of people you should attach to, simply because they have an ambition. They have a broad bit of things to do. So if you get attached, you at least can impart the percentage of what they are interested in and what they would like to do. So I had this privilege of working with him for a long way, and that really helped me in doing my own job in the later years. And I wrote quite a lot of my own accomplishments and the type of things I could do to Professor Ayoga. So with this, I can only say that ISRO, of course, we had no successive chairman. We had after me, it was Malan Nayak and Krishnan and Nauti and Kumar, a product of this college. They are extraordinarily well. They have kept a flag of ISRO high, and they have brought in the same type of culture and outlook. We try to do ISRO is moving into new paradigm, the way of doing things. We're coming to areas like aerospace, reusable vehicles, most complex, and onboard intelligence and onboard processing systems for communication, high resolution remote sensing satellites, and then planetary exploration beyond Mars and Moon, and things of that kind. So you are going to witness a very, very giant expansion. The present government is very keen that these kind of new initiatives are taken up as early as possible. And the present Prime Minister would like to see ISRO to be worked with some of the most leading countries are in the world, right? I think given that kind of an encouragement and the resource that we need for this, I think for us also the space is the limit, the sky is the limit. Thank you.
I have one question. Just a minute. We'll allow you the question. Just a minute. You form just one minute. No, please be seated for another 10 minutes. He has come. I think he has left the common student at 4 o'clock and is here. Another 10 minutes to take their song. See, we had a beautiful exposition of all the development of ISRO with a nice way of narrating it with anecdotal references. And today, we are really grateful to Dr. K. on your opinion on all the And then I told you, next day, tomorrow, by about 5:15, we have very nutritious, healthy millets food, with good coffee by Dr. Maya. First take the coffee and millets at about 5:30, then enter into this room with your friends also. Now there are 200 people, if you bring one more, 400 will happen. Arrange for 400 people, 200 will outside the salt with the chase and other, there is no problem at all. And that lecture is going to be given by Dr. P. Sadananda Maya, Chairman Maya Beverages and Food Private Limited on healthy millets. Apart from that, I would like to bring to your notice one or two things which are breathtaking and world record ecosystems. That in 10th July, we got one lecture on blockchains, a disruptive technology for the future digital world. You know now, gold is standard. Dollars are there, rupees are there are so many currencies. Shortly, in another 4 or 5 years, cryptocurrencies will come into the universal currency actually. And that will see that there are no banks, there are no credit cards, there is no debit cards, there is no chartered accountants. All those things will go, it's a double entry, triple entry will start. There will be entries or through computers. There is no CS will be there. That's why disruptive technology. But it's innovative technology. And if you have innovative technology, if you want to do a startup thing, we have got on 28 July, from Dr. Ravi, Global Director at Microsoft here in Seattle, he will come for this lecture. He will give a lecture on how startups use technological innovations to solve India's problems or Modi's problems. No? There is blockchain, innovative technology, startup, and India's problems. All the things are in science lecture. Kindly attend all the lectures. With this, now I think, so we can take some few questions more. He is ready to take some few questions. I think we will limit it to 6 questions. First question is yours.
Sir, where do you stand compared to China in respect of satellite and rocket technology?
We have except for the fact that we don't have a manned flight program. So that is the only thing. Then we have a resource investment and a large amount of people to be added to this. At the present thing, we are using that particular program, but the time, but we are sure that it will happen in the coming years. But right now we don't have that program. Deliberately we have kept it out of the present ISRO program. Otherwise, we are as good as what they are doing.
Then second question.
Sir, we are seeing new ways of finding the motors in satellites. Sir. Thereby the weight of the satellites is coming down. They are saying that they are using electrical propulsion instead of chemical propulsion. So what would be the ideal weight of a very advanced satellites in the years to come?
That depends on the mission. Propulsion by itself, the only thing is propulsion becomes half the present configuration of the communication satellite. Nearly half the weight of the communication satellite is from the propellant, which are both. It can substantially come down.
So a 10 satellite can come down to 5 tons in the years to come?
Possible. It depends on at what stage you want to propel it, because the ion propulsion and things of that kind is a very low thrust. So you have to keep pushing it for several hours. So what you are doing in a matter of 30 minutes or 40 minutes will take several hours or sometimes several days. So there are these kind of questions. The trade-off between at what stage you can't avoid a communication satellite being answered to the orbit. with this kind of, and put it in the orbit. You have to keep nudging it slowly there to keep it going. For which also you give 50-20% of the fuel. That can be done in the propulsion. So that is the kind of margin that we are available.
Okay. So we can see a significant
maybe one has to really look at the various properties. There are a lot of interesting strategies that are coming up nowadays.
Okay, thank you.
This person, not like him, really, somebody is standing here. Then yourself, and that person is better if you come forward.
Sir, namaste. My name is Ashwin. I have completed my BSc in physics from MES. My aim is to be an astronaut. Yesterday, while I was browsing in NASA website, I found out that there are space agencies just like what we have ISRO in India. There are space agencies in China, Japan, Russia, and Europe. They all have tie-up program for, for astronaut program in NASA. Why, even though we are compatible, why is it we do not have? Do you have, with your experience, do you have any answer for that question?
You see, one short operation of sending an astronaut to space through NASA will have a meaning, provided we have a long-term perspective in India of what it should be. So under long-term perspective is properly defined and understood. Even sending people to NASA to do certain things will become only a one short operation. I don't think it's wise to do that kind of thing. So that's where ISRO will take a view. ISRO is studying what is the best way to undertake a human space flight. And under that overall approach, the question of sending a couple of people to NASA or the ESA or other places becomes necessary. It automatically will form a component of that plan.
That means you will be in future days, ISRO will be doing the same. Sending.
Yeah, depending on what ISRO is. I am not a part of the ISRO.
Okay, sorry.
That will depend on that.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much for giving a success story of space program. I just want to ask, we have been lacking in our aviation sector. Do you think we can repeat the same success story in our aviation sector by making airplanes for commercial and fighter and other things? Thank you.
But we have done SDA. It's a good fighter.
Well,
it is there. Certainly we have done. Our helicopters we are not building. They say we are doing that.
But asking
Passenger aircraft, this is a different ball game. You have to substantially, even the Chinese one, they have recently test show. Don't know what it is going to do. It consists of several technologies from outside.
I think you have to
So,
it's called 80.
Sir, can we provide the internet or network facility in higher altitude places like CRG? Like we are getting a network facility at lower altitudes.
Higher altitude means?
Higher altitude like CRG places, higher altitudes.
Yes, ultimately it's possible.
But right now we are not getting the network in higher altitudes.
I don't know those AIS's connectivities. They may have it. We don't know. But we can also provide it with satellite-based. Now the more modern satellite that has been launched, we can enable internet connectivity also. So once that is the kind of longitude, then you can connect anywhere.
Okay, young man, just.
Hi, I'm Steve. I finished my aerospace engineering from University of Manchester. I was wondering if you have any programs for youth to train us better for space industries.
Of course, it is now, as I told you, we have a major program to expand our activities both to industrialization through areas like some initiatives of the access, the Google Express and what Honorary and this company are doing to land a spacecraft and moon and then make it go up for 500 meters and take high definition video. Develop a public-private partnership. This is another model. Plenty of possibilities are there now. I can say that.
Sir, good evening, sir. Sir, I wanted to know from you whether this moon mission will be successful and benefitable, sir.
ultimately, the whole idea of a solar system exploration is one to understand the solar system, which is itself a major task in terms of science. But more importantly, can humans have another location for habitation in the planet? Do we become a single point failure if something happens to Earth? So that is one thing. So that's why we want to look for areas where the habitation is possible. Mars is supposed to be the most nearest in terms of that. And third is exploitation of the resources. There is a resource in the Earth runs out. How do you exploit the resources of the solar system? And for that kind of a thing, what kind of planets and moons you should visit, and how do you exploit them through, it's not like through human beings, that is all of like robots and so on. So this is third. All the three are objectives of all the space agencies. Doing that is the strategy of the government itself.
Can mankind establish their life there in the moon?
You become a multi-planetary species. As we all know, a little beautiful lecture. You will become a multi-planetary species. Once you go there, you are not thinking that you will come back here. There are many immigrants in this world. You go from one country to another, they have never come back to that. Some of them belong originally to India, but they have not even seen India. Even if they want to surface of the earth, so to talk about Mars.
I think we are closing this session. But if there are any questions, as we move towards the quality now.
Only one question.
Oh, Judge is asking, we can't do anything.
Has any legal issues cropped up so far?
It is there. Actually, I didn't tell about this, but I think there is a space law. And Tamil law is made on many universities. One of the foremost to work on the space law in many universities.
Shall I close on the Judge? Okay, thank you.
And I know.
And the students about one.
Yes, very nice.